Ideal conditions in Provo, Utah at Lavelle Edwards Stadium for tonight's battle out west. The 20th ranked Boise State Broncos 1-0. BYU also 1-0. I'm Dave Lamont with Ray Bentley upstairs. Allison Williams on her world tour of Utah patrolling the field for us here in Provo. It is an absolutely gorgeous evening, 71 degrees. And BYU will get the football first. That means starting for the first time, the freshman, Ray, Tanner Mangum. But everybody in college football knows who this guy is.
Right. An incredible splash onto the stage last week. He's pretty green, but he's brimming with confidence, Dave. And after last week's heroics, he should have.
So BYU, it is a white out tonight, so everybody encouraged to wear white, and the players are following suit in white uniforms with just a little bit of blue. And Boise, so many uniform combinations, impossible to guess what they're going to go with, but they've gone with sort of a black, little blue, little orange number.
Pretty snazzy. I like it.
Nice helmets, and I really appreciate the numbers on the sides.
Yes.
Well, let's go play some football. All the way from the B, and BYU will wisely take the touchback, and they'll take over the 25-yard line. So there he is, the freshman from, oddly enough, Eagle, Idaho, just a few minutes away from Boise. And he came down to two schools, Ray, here in BYU and Boise State.
Right, and he decided to come here and follow his brother Parker at BYU, and this is his first start, ironically, against his hometown team where he almost went, and it's going to be fun to watch him mature tonight.
And he's going up against a pretty stout Boise State defense as Bronco Mendenhall, who handles the defense for BYU, looks on. Under pressure, no. He avoids the sack on the first hit, but not the second one.
Armin Nance got there, and Mangum was waiting. He had a receiver right down the middle of the field. You see right there, number 10, and that's the other hero, Mitch Matthews, from last week. But Mangum couldn't get rid of it, and he got snowed under.
So the loss of 4 brings up second down and 14. Excuse me, a loss of 9. Second down and 19. And that's going to be 3rd and 19 on the short delivery to Algie Brown.
Not the start they had hoped for, that's for sure, for Tanner Mangum. And they're going to start him out a little slow. I expect to see a lot of little hitch routes, out routes, short little throws to develop him some confidence. But in this situation, Dave, the youngster's going to have to throw this one deep.
But he does have an arm.
He does.
I'll tell you that despite the time that he's missed, having been on his mission and not arrived back on campus till June, he feels that his arm is as strong as it has ever been. Boise with a lot of pressure again. On the run, it's a dangerous throw, but the receiver's open. 30-yard line, it'll be a BYU touchdown. Mitchell Juergens.
How about that?
Yards.
And Tanner Mangum picked up where he left off last week. Rolling to his right, let it fly about as far as he could throw it. He told me he could hum it 70 yards. It's pretty close right there.
Well, he's done it again. Just put him in a desperate situation, and apparently Tanner Mangum can handle it.
So here it is. One of these receivers up here is Juergens, and he just keeps working down the middle of the field, and he never gives up. And the problem is the Boise defender got caught with his eyes in the backfield instead of staying disciplined on the receiver. I really like the way young Tanner Mangum moves around, avoids the rush, shows us the speed, and then throws back against the grain. He hummed that one almost 65 in the air.
It's odd to say that's a 75-yard drive in 3 plays, but it was an 84-yard touchdown pass.
Oh, he can hum the football. There's no doubt about that. And then to have the composure to keep his eyes downfield and let that thing go just as he's going out of bounds under duress. That's pretty impressive for the kid in his first start.
They're just thinking the emotions that BYU went through a week ago, highest of highs, the lowest of lows, knowing they lost Taysom Hill. Trying to get through that, trying to get a new quarterback ready to be a starter, and then this is what he does on his first drive as a starter, is staggering. Now Boise State will get the football, and Jeremy McNichols will not even get to the 20-yard line. So Ryan Finley, the redshirt sophomore from Phoenix, replacing Grant Hedrick, will get difficult field position here for Boise State. Now Finley had conservative numbers, 16 completions for 129 yards. Last week was not the flashy Boise State offense I think that people are used to.
Well, they were going against Washington with their new coach Chris Peterson, so it was almost like an inter-squad scrimmage in some respects, and so they knew each other's tricks basically. So Boise kind of kept it, I guess, on the ground more than anything, conservative. And I believe they'll unwrap those tricks out here tonight.
Fake to the tailback, Young. Out on the flat and incomplete. Ball hit the turf. It'll be 2nd down and 10, trying to get it to Jeremy McNichols, the sophomore from Long Beach.
Watching Ryan Finley last week, he was very good in terms of his movement in the pocket, his scrambling ability. Did not throw to the wide receivers as much as I think he'll eventually get to. Very quick to drop it off and dump it down.
A low snap, and they'll just eat the football at the 6-yard line. McNichols falls on it. Boise State was concerned about noise coming in here. Right now, this place is completely alive.
And this is just a case of the center, Marcus Henry, losing control of the football. It just slid out of his hand and really hit the ground in front of Finley. Had no chance at it.
3rd down and 23 following that loss. Devin Demas checks into the tailback for Brian Harsin, the head coach there for Boise. And they'll go conservatively with a handoff. Demas can move, and he'll get it out to about the 14-yard line. But a stout start for BYU. Sione Takitaki, who did not play versus Nebraska, one of 4 players that have been suspended for the game. He is an important player at the linebacker position. Boise will have to punt, and this brings up another problem the Broncos had last week, Ray. Special teams were poor.
Right, they gave up a very long punt return, had a punt blocked, and Coach Harsin took over punt duties this week, and he schooled them up. So we'll see if they learned anything, got anything out of it.
From the end zone, a lot of pressure on the kick, and this comes out a little wobbly. Will it even make midfield?
Got a nice roll.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that's kept that from being a real disaster. That was very closely blocked, nearly blocked out to the 44-yard line. Well, he's done it again, folks. Maybe it wasn't a Hail Mary, but it looked like one. Tanner Mangum gets it done for BYU. Keep up with it. I got to know these guys because they're going to rotate all 3. Well, this is a confident cat, man, just to say, I'm just going to fling it. I'll just fling it. What the heck?
Hey, Eric, do you know how far he threw that in the air by chance? Because, all right.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You had him.
60.
Seven 0 BYU here early in the first quarter. The reason, Tanner Mangum. 3rd down and 19. He rolls to his right, escapes the rush, throws it from the 11 all the way down, 60 yards in the air, hits Mitchell Juergens in full stride, and BYU strikes early on the 3rd play of the ball game.
He's back out there now with excellent field position, Ray, the BYU 45-yard line. Adam Hine is the tailback, number 28. Hine stays in the block, quick throw caught, and it'll be BYU getting into Boise territory. It's Mitch Matthews who caught the Hail Mary, picks up at least 9, and they're going to mark him down just short of the 1st down.
That was an impressive read right there from Tanner Mangum. He saw the defender who was back from the receiver. The blitz came. He knew right where to go with it and threw a strike to Jonathan Moxey on the coverage.
This will be Hine, and down he goes. He's trying to fight to make that less of a loss, but it's going to be a loss of 2 back to the 48-yard line. This was a problem for BYU last year. Hine did run the ball well, but as Darian Thompson brought him down, that's a problem for BYU.
Yes, they have to find a way to run the football. Most of their rushing yardage in last week's game came from Taysom Hill and then Tanner Mangum. So whether it be Hine or somebody else, they have to get production out of some of those running backs.
And Hine had 37 of those 43 rush yards in Lincoln. They go behind the fullback, and Hine will fight and carry the defenders for the first down. That time, Ahi Ho-Ching, number 45, the fullback, led the way into the line, a gain of 4, tackled by Nance.
That was just power football from the Cougars. They ran an isolation right at the heart of this Bronco defense, and they pushed people back.
And you can see written on his left arm the number 4, Taysom Hill's number. We'll have a lot more about Taysom Hill and his impact on this team as the evening goes on. Algie Brown, the tailback, 24. Stays in the block, going for it all right here. And it's intercepted inside the 10-yard line. Dante Dion, all Mountain West second teamer last year, got the jump. Pass a little bit underthrown, and it'll be Boise State football.
And Tanner Mangum has to throw this one a little bit further. He hung it up, and that's going to create problems. Now, he threw it up there trying to take advantage of the height differential between Nick Kurtz and the defender. Kurtz goes 6'6", and the interceptor on the play, 5'9", is Dante Dion. So he had the right idea. He's just got to put a little more mustard on it.
And for Dion, that's his first interception of the season, and obviously Mangum, the first one he has thrown. Boise State won the game last week against Washington without winning the turnover battle. They have a little edge here early, and before the trick play was going to be run, we have flags.
A false start by number 72 of the offense. Penalties half the distance to the goal, and it's still first down.
One of the legends in college football officiating there, Cooper Castleberry, in charge of our game tonight. Brian Harsin and Boise. That's the first trick we were going to see, if not for the false start.
And a little fly sweep, the pitch up front, but
I thought Shane Williams-Rhodes was going to throw it.
He might have.
That was the hint that I got out of it. It may have just been a fly sweep. That's possible.
I think so, just because of the field position. This is not where you pull out the bag of tricks usually.
Jeremy McNichols back in at tailback. Staying in the block. And from the end zone, Finley fires and has a man for a first down at the 19-yard line.
Hit Jake Rowe as tight end and on a corner route and stuck it in there. That was a really nice throw from Finley, who, you got to be a little nervous throwing out of your own end zone in a long developing 7-step type drop. But they handled it well with the protection up front.
Back in the lineup for BYU, the safety, Kai Nakua. He was suspended last week. He made the stop, number 12 for the Cougars, and they need him. Being chased, and Finley gets rid of it. The short pass is going to get it out to the 28-yard line. They're going to be maybe the 27, a couple of yards shy of the first down. We got a big one for you tomorrow. 1 versus 2 in the final match of America's Major. Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer slug it out in New York for the U.S. Open Men's Championship, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Coverage begins Sunday at 3:30 on ESPN, and of course streaming live on Watch ESPN. That's another first down for Boise State. Another throw to Thomas Spurbeck this time, gain of 7.
Finley looks like he's settled in now. The last couple throws have been right on the money and with good timing.
You kind of touched on that when you talked about Mangum, getting the young quarterbacks the shorter throws to build confidence. Now, of course, Mangum ends up heaving one for an 84-yard touchdown out of a desperate necessity. Blitz coming from the corner. Finley reads it, and he'll take off, and he'll slide safely, or sort of fall safely at the 40-yard line. A solid 6-yard gain, though, 2nd and 4 coming up.
Finley has a great knack of knowing where to go when things break down in terms of his scrambling ability. Last week against Washington, made several big key plays to keep drives alive in that exact same way.
Under 10 minutes on our opening quarter, BYU connecting on an 84-yard touchdown pass from the freshman, Tanner Mangum. This is McNichols. He'll be just short of the first down. 3rd down and about a yard to go. Let's take a look at the impact players first for the Broncos on offense.
Well, Jeremy McNichols was outstanding last week. a lot of all-purpose yards and the attitude and the way he plays. And then Thomas Burbick was the leading receiver for them on the outside, and he has a nice relationship with Finley. Those two seem to be on the same page.
Little less than a yard to go.
Option.
Nothing there, but McNichols fights through it. Just too many white jerseys. A loss, and BYU may have forced a punt situation. That play stretched out by the BYU defense, but Michael Wadsworth, number 30, had the last laugh. They lose 2.
Wadsworth went into this in the beginning of the season at number 3 at the third string free safety and played his way into the starting role after his performance in the second half last week against Nebraska.
So Micah Hanneman in single safety for BYU. Sean Whale, redshirt junior punter, had 1 block last week and nearly had 1 block tonight. That time BYU holds off, and Whale didn't. He, hate to say it, wailed on it. Down to the 5, and Hanneman won't even get to the 10-yard line. Excellent coverage that time by the Broncos defensively. 54 yards on the punt, 4 on the return. If you missed Tanner Mangum's touchdown pass, you'll see a lot of it later on SportsCenter.
Football, brought to you by Allstate. Proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
In Provo, this is the Cougar Walk. Pre-game opportunity for the fans to slap 5 or knuckle bump with the players. But they put on the all whites tonight to match the crowd, and it is something. Let me tell you, the folks in Provo got the memo because look at that. That is a stunning sight to see here. I remember when Penn State did that a few years ago, and it was spectacular, and we're seeing that tonight. Third drive for Tanner Mangum. He's had 1 touchdown pass and an interception. This time a handoff to Nate Carter. He'll pick up a short gain, and let's join the third member of our team, Allison Williams.
Well, Tanner Mangum spent a good amount of time on the sideline just now talking to his wide receivers and offensive coordinator, Robert and I. Coach and I told us that they are going to go through some growing stages with Tanner, and they're okay with that as they try to figure out their identity with him at quarterback. He did say, though, he's confident the players will rally around him. You could see that on the sidelines after the pick.
Mangum's going to take off, broke 1 tackle, trying to get to the first down. He's going to be short by about 1.5 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and short yardage for Robert and I to come up with a call. And we'd like to welcome those of you who watch the Florida Gators in East Carolina from the swamp in Gainesville. Welcome to Provo, Utah, Lavelle Edwards Stadium, where BYU leads 20th-ranked Boise State on an 84-yard Tanner Mangum to Mitchell Juergens touchdown pass on the opening drive, 7-0. I'm Dave Lamont with Ray Bentley. Allison Williams is on the sidelines, and they're going 3rd down, and it's very short for BYU, and they're not going to get it. Oh, what a big hit that time. Fourth down.
And that is Derek Bowles, who just shoots through the defensive line. Watch him just fire through there. Actually, it's the nose tackle, the big guy in the middle, and that is an outstanding football play. Just getting rid of the center and getting penetration deep into the backfield.
So standing at his goal line will be Johnny Rugby, another sensation from last week in Lincoln. Johnny Linehan, the rugby player who can rip it. This kick, not his best effort, though. An excellent field position. The fair catch by Dante Dion at the 48-yard line. After a 38-yard punt, the Broncos will have by far their best field position. So if you're just joining us after watching the Gators and the Pirates, here's what you missed. Tanner Mangum was the sensation of college football last week. What does he do on the opening drive?
He lets one rip. Throws it 60-odd yards down the field. Hits his receiver for a touchdown, Mitchell Juergens, but then on the next drive throws the interception as Dante Dion comes up with it and thwarts the second drive and just had the third one, the punt, and now Boise with the ball.
It'll be their 3rd drive. They picked up a couple of first downs on their 2nd drive, but so far nothing big for the Broncos. BYU is always tough defensively. Finley stepping into the pocket, looking very calm, and a wide open receiver into Cougars territory for the first time. Very well executed that time, particularly from the offensive line, at 21 yards to Williams-Rhodes.
Another nice read by Ryan Finley, standing in there, and you see wide open is Rhodes, the receiver. A little headshot there at the end. Got away with one, did Michael Davis.
And Finley will keep it on a little bit of his own read, and he'll pick up 5 yards. Finley ran for 30 yards in the win over Washington in Boise last week. So 2nd and 5 coming up. Wadsworth in there again for BYU. A senior from nearby Orem, Utah. Finley so far 4 completions, 51 yards. To the 25 as Williams Rhodes and a first down.
And that's a situation where Finley has the option to either hand the ball off or with a pre-snap read decide to throw that screen onto the outside. He liked the numbers, got it out there, had a nice block out there from Chaz Anderson to spring it for a first down.
So in Idaho, they call this the blue zone where Boise State is in. McNichols will get to the 16-yard line. There's a good example. If you talked about north-south running, folks at home wonder what that is. There's a good shot of it right there.
He likes to just put his head down and head straight up the field. I love that. There's no dance at all in Jeremy McNichols. You see what he did last week. Also did a nice job in the receiving and picking up blitzers. Outstanding job with that.
Yes, if we get a chance, we're going to show you an example that you won't believe if you did not see the game last week. This time Finley with the keeper. Nicely done, because quite a bit of the BYU tacklers went after McNichols. He is right at the marker. We think it's a gain of 7, and it looks like it's going to be 1st and goal. And they're going to stop the clock. One official says move the chains. That's a first down.
And that'll be 1st and goal as they're inside the 10. And this is where Boise traditionally likes to throw in some of those trick plays. See what Coach Harsin dials up here.
They've also gone to Wildcat in the past, but not now. That's Jake Rowe in motion. Pitch to McNichols. BYU surround. Oh, look at McNichols make that plant, cut, and go inside the 5 before Wadsworth brings him down. It's a solid gain of 6.
Yeah, when he puts his foot in the ground and makes that cut, he is out of there. Watch him just, boom, sees the little window, the gap, gets up in there. Mario Yaku with a nice block to pulling guard to clear it up for him.
So Finley this time under center. Williams Rhodes in motion. A lot of motion for Boise. McNichols, he knows where he wants to go, and he gets there. The ball is ripped out after the touchdown, and Boise is on the board on the 52-yard drive.
And that's just determination from Jeremy McNichols. I mean, he hit the hole 2-3 times and then finally bounces it out. Watch how he just pushes forward.
The ruling on the field is that the plane of the goal line was broken before the runner fumbled the ball. Touchdown.
And you can clearly see that was the case on the replay. He was down in the end zone, broke the plane before a knee went down. That's 6 points.
Well, Lille ripped the football out, and of course they're looking at it anyway before they let him kick the extra point, and they may want to go to a further review here. But it looks pretty clear to Ray and I that it is a touchdown. He was definitely down before the ball came out.
Yeah, they are taking a look at it. Our official tonight, Cooper Castleberry, and then Jim Blackwood is up in the replay booth. Another look at this here, and this play is designed to go to the right, and you see how far McNichols ends up almost to the outside C gap on the opposite way the play was supposed to go as he kept pressing forward and looking for the least resistance and found it.
I would imagine this would be a pretty quick look from the replay booth. Head linesman had the call right away.
A nice answer there from Brian Harsin's ball club. Driving down the field, getting points on the board.
The other thing is, if they somehow reverse this call, what are they going to call?
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
7 plays, 52 yards, and 238, and every play was positive yardage for Boise State. Another thing about the Broncos, for all the glitter and glaze they put on their offense, when they want to be physical and nasty, they are.
Yes, they are. And in particular, last week, I was impressed the way they came out and ran the football.
That was also a problem last year. Extra points. Tyler Rossa had one blocked a week ago, but not this time. Jeremy McNichols, he's 5'9", 205, and all power. There are T-shirts in Provo now with the Miracle at Memorial, or it's called the Mangum Miracle. Speaking to some students today, they said it was about 3 or 4 days of nothing but celebrations at BYU until everybody kind of settled down and got back to getting to schoolwork. They actually had folks meet him at the airport following the trip from Lincoln. And Tanner Mangum won this group over very quickly. They always say the backup quarterback's the most popular guy in town. When you throw a Hail Mary to beat a great team like Nebraska in their own building where they hadn't lost in a million years, you become almost the most popular guy in Utah, excepting, of course, the Utah fans and the Utah State fans.
Well, and then he comes out and first drive hums an 84-yard touchdown pass just to make sure that people realize that was no fluke.
Both Algie Brown and Adam Hine are in at tailback. This will be Hine trying to get to the edge, and he is dumped very quickly.
A nice solid tackle coming up by Mercy Maston. And I really like this second level of the Boise defense. They fly around and come up and take direct lines and shoot the gun. Not a lot of breakdown tackling. They just come firing right at you, just like Maston did in that play.
It was a very fast defense. They close very, very quickly. They keep it again. It's Hine again, and he'll get to the 30, and that's it. They're going to need 5 to get the first down. Impact players for the Broncos defensively, coordinated by Marcel Yates.
Yeah, and you have Tanner Vallejo, who is the middle linebacker. Not only does he run this outfit, but he makes a lot of plays and is all over the field, 100 miles an hour type of guy. And then Kamala Correa was outstanding last week and even last year when he led the Mountain West in sacks with 12.5.
First team Mountain West was Correa. Pocket forming. Mangum guns it. First down. Juergens, who caught the 84-yarder, catches a much shorter one this time, but gets out to the 42, a pickup of a dozen, and a BYU first down.
Well, you said it, Dave. He gunned it. And this shows you just the strength and the whip that Mangum has. Man, that thing gets out of there quick, right on the money, and no hesitation whatsoever. He looks a lot more calm and steady in the pocket here tonight than he did last week.
Again, just firing fastballs. And, Allison Williams, Tanner Mangum just wasn't some guy who showed up at BYU. He was a touted recruit.
Yeah, but he didn't really burst onto the scene until he showed up at Elite 11 4 years ago. And even then, some people were like, who is this kid from Idaho? But they figured out pretty quick that he was quite talented. I talked to Game Day's George Whitfield, our resident quarterback coach, and he said that on day one, they have an accuracy challenge. And you're talking about the best 24 high school quarterbacks in the country, plus several guys that are now playing in the pros. Tanner Mangum won that competition by 8 targets, so he gets the gold jersey, right? Next day, day 2, same competition, same result. Mangum wins again, this time by 12 targets. So day 3, he shows up wearing a gold jersey and another one tucked in his pants to show him off. Guys wanted to hate him, but they couldn't. He was just too nice. He shared MVP that year with Jameis Winston. Whitfield said he is the happiest cold-blooded killer I have ever met.
Well, Allison, after we spent some time with him yesterday, I would agree. Little shoulder fake, on the run, throws, flag is down, and the ball is down as well. Let's see if the ruling is that the receiver was down. Algie Brown had the football. But again, a good example of that closing speed of the Boise defense.
Yeah, they fly around, no doubt, Dave. I think the ball ended up going out of bounds before it was recovered by Boise, so it'll be marked there, and then, of course, we'll deal with the penalty as well.
Tyler Horn had the football.
Holding by number 73 of the offense. The penalties declined. It's 4th down.
So the ruling was no fumble at all. So it'll be 4th down and about 7. And here's Johnny Linehan. His first punt of the game, not that great, but Johnny from Auckland, New Zealand. Last week was his first college football game as a participant. He is an outstanding rugby player. BYU national champs many times over in the sport. And they call him Johnny Rugby. And he has a unique ability. You'll see him take off to his right. and he can kick it across the field, which is extraordinarily hard to do, and with some juice. It's a line drive caught at the 20-yard line by Dante Dion, and it's a 37-yarder. So you take a look at Jeremy McNichols, number 13. Not a big body, a sophomore from Long Beach, California, but I got to believe that versatility is going to make him attractive at the next level.
Well, watch what he does on this play. He takes the blitzer out. The guy lands on top of him. He still scrambles up and is able to get himself open and bail out Finley and then put his head down and split a couple of tacklers. Here he is busting to the outside into the end zone. I love the way this kid plays. Excellent receiver on the edge, and he is tough late in a down, which is admirable.
They mark that back at the 19-yard line. A couple of play action fakes. Finley looking deep down the field, and he is very open. And a diving grab made into BYU territory, caught by Chaz Anderson out of Los Angeles. First down for Boise State.
Last week, Finley just missed a long play, a long pass like that. Barely overthrew it. He dialed it back this time, and he just hits Chaz Anderson. A little play action fake here. Blitz coming. Good protection. Gives him the time, and he found a man wide open. There was a blown coverage there in the Cougar secondary.
43 yards on that hookup to Anderson, and Boise very quickly in Cougar territory. Blitz picked up. Finley going down the sideline this time into traffic, and then it's intercepted by Kai Nakua. It'll be a touchback. BYU ball at the 20-yard line.
Boy, and just as soon as you start singing Finley's praises, that was a terrible mistake. He never picked up Nakua, the safety, and he hung it on the sidelines up in the air, and Nakua was in great position. I mean, if Finley had seen Nakua and where he was on the field, he never would have let that ball go.
And not only that, it wouldn't have counted anyway, because you saw the receiver, Spurbeck, out of bounds when the official threw the hat. So even if Spurbeck had somehow made a catch out of all that, it would have gone against Boise for illegal participation. So Kai Nakua did not play last week. He was suspended. He is back. BYU struggled in the safety play a week ago, and now they pick it up right here.
It was terrible. I asked Coach Mendenhall about it, and he agreed 100%. And that's how, Mike Wadsworth, got the job. He got bumped up the first string, and Nakua comes back, and they get a lot stronger in that secondary.
The ruling on the field was a touchback. The previous play is under further review.
I wondered about that, because if Nakua had possession and landed with 1 foot in the field of play and then his momentum carried him into the end zone, they'll mark that ball on the 1-yard line.
All right, the ruling on the field, touchback, let's see.
All right, he catches it, that foot lands it, and they're going to spot this ball at the 1.
And that's going to be at 19 yards the other direction. So understandable why the official would make that call, because it happens at full speed and he's going backwards. But I'm starting to side with you, Pards.
Yeah, there's no question. He has possession, and the foot comes down at the 1. And that, according to the rules, the momentum carries you in the end zone is really a moot point.
After further review, the ball was intercepted at the 1-yard line, and momentum took him into the end zone. Therefore, the ball will be placed at the 1-yard line, first down.
So that's going to change you as a play caller if you're Robert Anae, the coordinator for BYU. Whatever you had from the 20, you might have to junk that and come up with something else. Then again, with Mangum, he may just pitch it from the end zone 60 yards.
And they like to roll out to the edge in this type of situation. Did it last week with success against Nebraska. So I don't expect them to be too conservative here.
Crowd a little bit upset about the change in fortunes for BYU, and Mangum having to quiet him down a little bit.
A pass would be good here. Boise is just inside for the run.
They are selling out, and barely getting out of there was Adam Hine. No gain on the play.
They had 9 men in the box, and this is a situation where you really want to get out of this play if you can in terms of a running play. Especially when you're in the pistol formation, standing 5 yards deep in the backfield, and the tailback's 8 yards deep in the backfield, and he almost lost the football, did Hine.
They're going to have to get a playoff in this quarter before it ends. Again, conservative, better hole that time, and they'll get out to the 6-yard line. So 3rd down and 5, what might be the final play of the first quarter.
The wind not really a factor. No reason to keep it on this end. I would expect Bronco Mendenhall would just let this run out.
And he will. The teams will hike down the other end here at Lavelle Edwards. That'll be a long hike. They're going to need all of our break time, and we'll provide them with a little bit of cushion. 7-7 at the end of one, and you better believe Tanner Mangum gave more thrills to his crowd on the 84-yard return touchdown pass, but Jeremy McNichols grinds in the Boise score. Celebrating its 11th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. In fact, we have the greatest research department in the world, and even they don't know how much money Allstate has. It's a lot, and we're very grateful for it.
A lot of room over here in the flat for these receivers. It's just on a 3rd and 6.
They go on the ground out of Brown, and nothing there. Boise State last week gave up 29 yards on the ground against the Huskies, and they've been stout so far.
Yeah, they've basically given up 30 yards. Yeah, 30 yards tonight. But
Elliott Hoyt that time stuffing that play.
They got a chance to change field position with Johnny Rugby here if he can get one off.
So far, though, he hasn't. He's actually been a little off. Dante Dion waiting with a chance to make it even better field position, and Johnny better be careful where his back feet go. That one's a little better. Dion's got to work. There's that cross-field kick, but unfortunately for Linehan, it had a little cross side spin on it and didn't get that forward roll that he needed. So the Broncos again are going to have great field position. This looks like the 48, and that's where they had their scoring drive the last time they started at the 48 for head coach Brian Harsin in his 2nd year at Boise as the head coach after a year at Arkansas State and a couple of years working for Mack Brown at Texas. 13-2 as Harsin. His team has won 10 in a row.
And this is where he basically learned the game of football, came back to Boise as the head coach, and is back home again. Look at this, they got 4 on one side, no one on the other.
And they stay on the ground, and that time BYU snuffs McNichols for the loss. Bronson Kaufusi, the senior from right here in Provo. Very likely NFL future for Kaufusi. It's a loss of 2.
And he's going to come off the edge and just not get blocked, basically. There he is right up there. And a lot of times they won't block the end man on the line on the backside. You have to block him or that will happen.
Graham Rowley also 92 in there to disrupt the play. McNichols goes out in motion. Finley with time throws, and it's a little high. Trying to get it to Kelsey Young. Running back coming out of the backfield is only 5'10", and Michael Davis was on the coverage. That gentleman is Steve Kaufusi. Bronson's dad is the defensive line coach.
And we talked to Bronson. I asked him, does Dad bring football home? He said, no, I'm here all day. We talk football all day here, but when we're away from it, they don't really talk much about it.
Boise has missed on 2 third down opportunities. They rush 3, and there's a little pop pass from Finley. It will not be a first down. A solid duo of Davis and Nakua shoving back Williams-Rhodes. And they get it to the 49-yard line. Now, you've got 7 yards to go here on 4th down. And Boise State looks like they're going to bring out the punter, Sean Whale, and they are.
Yeah, 7 yards is too many. They're not far enough past midfield. However, this is the ideal area for a fake. And it looks to me like BYU has left the defense on the field to play punt safe to prevent something on a fake.
And it's a straight ahead punt, and this is high. Wow, what a great kick. Hanneman just lets it go. And Boise is going to really benefit from a fantastic punt by Sean Whale of 39 yards. 39 yards in the air, it looked like, and then 39 yards long. Take a look at Bronco Mendenhall, part of the BYU head coaching staff, part of the staff, I should say, the head as the head coach and the defensive coordinator, and he's got a number in his mind of 24 points, Ray. And under Bronco Mendenhall, this is what BYU has done as we bring you our Northwestern Mutual Planning for Success.
Yeah, 24 points is his magic number.
Adam Hine gets it out to the 14-yard line, and 24 is the real pillar because they're 82-12 when they score 24 or better. When they allow 24 or fewer, they're a ridiculous 78-11. And then the rest of those, scoring first, 67-9, 43-8 in every quarter, and 17-2 when they can get a defensive touchdown.
That's a pretty good recipe for success. And under Coach Mendenhall, BYU has averaged giving up 19 points a game over the last 10+ years.
Which he makes the defensive calls. We'll get a little bit more into that later on, because at the moment the Cougars are on offense but not getting very far as Adam Hine was swallowed up. You take a good look at Justin Tametuia from Samoa.
And that's the 14th rushing play for BYU, and they've totaled up 14 yards. So a yard per play, that's not what you got to have when you're running the football.
But that's the problem that Washington had last week too. They averaged only 1.3 per carry to the Huskies, and so Mangum heaves it out there to the 35-yard line, and the difficult catch is made by Devin Blackman.
Blackman stayed with it nicely, and this, because of his height, that helps. But he's just going to run a deep turn inside route, really a deep hitch, but he stayed with the football. And that's a nice job of pulling it out of the air. The feet were down when he grabbed possession. Should be no problem on that one. Nice play by Blackman.
So Devon Blackman, the senior from Fontana, gets the first down for BYU. Plenty of time here for Mangum. Plenty of time. He'll unload this one into double coverage, and it's over everybody's head. Incomplete. Mitch Matthews was the intended receiver. We head to the studio and a visit with Chris Cotter. All right, most of the game day staff picked Michigan State. In fact, most of the game day staff this morning picked BYU. Boise State a slight favorite in this game. And the freshman missing on that one to Mitchell Juergens. Little high, incomplete.
And he had Juergens wide open on an inside move. And this is one I know he wants back. Just overthrew it a little bit. See, and Juergens was able to get the hands on it, but just a little too difficult to reel it in. Now, Juergens would tell you, I should have had that one. Just as Mangum would tell you, I should have thrown it a little lower.
4 out of 7 on third downs. Last week, BYU just barely over 21% in their win. Got a little room to run on the right. Instead, he goes to the arm, and it's intercepted. Boise State to the 45-yard line. The interception again by Dion. Dion's got a path down to the 20. Cuts back and falls forward at the 17-yard line. A late flag coming in. 2 interceptions tonight for Dante Dion.
And that's a case of a young quarterback right there. Mangum did not expand his vision wide enough to see the sloughing off corner where Dion was dropping back and kind of out of the picture a little bit.
During the run back. A personal foul, blocking below the waist by number 2 of the return team. The penalty's 15 yards, and it's first down.
We got Jonathan Moxley on the penalty, but you can see Mangum's looking to his left. He's rolling to his right. He's scrambling around. And you know what? I think the vision was blocked. He didn't see Dion because Adam Hine was right in front of him. I think that obscured his vision. And in his, I guess, hurriedness to make a play, he let it fly.
There's a lot of bodies in the way. He just barely got the ball over Ben Weaver, the linebacker. And now Boise State, even with the penalty mark off, is in great position here. The 32-yard line of the Cougars. So Dion looks like he would like to be Mountain West first team this year after being second team last year. Devin Demas, the tailback. Might even lose a yard. And BYU stout defensively as well.
A great job by Jeremiah Lueta-Dayer just stringing things out, and that allowed Harvey Longy, the inside linebacker, to come up and fill that gap hard. Longy, a former running back.
Now you can call him for the rest of the night, number 43, JLD.
All right,
you got it out of the way. It's JLD from here on out.
I can deal with that.
Pressure coming. Finley flushed, and down he goes.
Longy
and it's JLD. Along with Longy, the same 2 guys conspired 2 straight plays for the Cougar defense.
Yeah, and he's going to basically run a blitz from stationary and show up on the outside, and nobody picks him up. And that's Archie Lewis, the right tackle. He's got to have his eyes up enough so that he can pick up that late blitzer.
3rd down and 16. And we have a timeout, I believe, taken by BYU. Bronco Mendenhall and the Cougars call a timeout. We'll step aside with 9:54 remaining, knotted at 7.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA football, and the new 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander.
The whiteout here in Provo at Lavelle Edwards. 0 out of 3 third downs for Boise State, and this one's no fun either. 3rd and 16.
You got nobody with their hand in the dirt up front trying to confuse the offensive line.
They bring the pressure. Finley hangs in, throws. Oh, almost. Well, that was a terrific throw.
Did he
Jake
get it?
Rhodes did not hang on. Ball hit the ground. That was close. He got a hand on it, and it would have been an unbelievable catch and a 1st down.
It was a nice job by Boise of picking up this blitz. You can see right there, there's not a lot of pressure really on Finley. Tries to hit the seam. That's really a nice play, diving by Michael Shelton. I think he got a hand on it.
So that would have been a Boise 1st down instead, and they run the 11th man out on the punt pro team.
And they don't have anyone deep for this punt. Oh, yeah, they do. I'm sorry.
Micah Hanneman is back deep around the 10-yard line. Wales kicked it well tonight, and this is another high one, trying to angle it toward the sideline. And he does it. Wow, he's had a spectacular game in that punting position. After having one blocked last week, he goes inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. And let's meet up with Allison Williams.
Guys, Taysom Hill, of course, lost for the season last week. Just want to update everyone on his condition. He did have surgery yesterday, 2 screws inserted into his foot to repair that Liz Frank sprain. Because he just had that surgery, unable to be here with his team tonight. As for his football future, Taysom says he really hasn't even thought about that yet. It has not been part of his thought process, concentrating on getting healthy as he should be. There is that option for a medical red shirt for him. The school could apply for that, but no decision reached there. Not here, but certainly very present with his team. You see the number 4 on Tanner Magnum's arm, and every player we talked to said they are playing for him.
Straight ahead is Algie Brown. Thank you very much, Allison. And great to have you here. I know you worked last night just down the road in Salt Lake. Gained it 2 for BYU and Algie Brown. And Taysom Hill was very effective. Ironically, he appeared to suffer that injury on a touchdown run, but he was spectacular against the Cornhuskers.
He really was. I mean, and when they needed a play, he came up with it. And that's what he's done throughout his career. And this is his football team. And now he's handed it down to the youngster, Tanner Mangum, but other guys have to step up. That was the key that Bronco Mendenhall told us, how they can overcome that loss.
Wide open Juergens down the 30, 35, 40. Juergens will get into Boise State territory as finally 3 defenders bring him down. That'll get you out of the rotten field position BYU had in their last 3 drives. Dion finally on the stop. That's a 42-yard pickup.
And they've got 4 wide receivers to the left, and that created the confusion. And Mangum, he spots the wide open receiver down the sidelines, hits Juergens, and there's nobody around from BYU. And Juergens now with 3 grabs for 138 yards and a touchdown.
And Dante Dion on the field, being tended to by the Boise training staff.
And they can ill afford to lose Dion, especially the way he's been playing tonight with a pair of interceptions.
We got Monday Night Football coming up for you. In fact, how about a Monday doubleheader? We like that. Mike Tirico and John Gruden will start you off with Philadelphia and Atlanta. And then Boomer is back in the booth with Trent Dilfer. The Minnesota Vikings take on the 49ers around 10:15 Eastern Time. Coverage of the season premiere doubleheader kicks off with Monday Night Countdown at 5 Eastern. That'll be coming up Monday night on ESPN. So now we'll see how Boise defends at the corner position with Dion out of the game for a play, if not longer. And Mangum's going to take a shot right now. Just missed, incomplete. Jonathan Moxey is the experienced corner in coverage there, number 2. Mitch Matthews was the intended receiver. One area, Ray, that you pointed out right away in getting ready for this game is the size. You got to look right there. The size difference between Matthews at 6'6" and Moxey at 5'10".
Right, and the tallest cornerback for Boise State is 5'11". And BYU has 2 6'6" receivers and a 6'5" receiver, and every one of their receivers is 6 feet or taller, so you have a big disparity there.
Adam Hine is the tailback, 28, 3 receivers. The top of your screen, and Mangum's just going to have to take the loss. All the way back to the 41-yard line. Back in BYU territory, they lose 11 on that mistake.
Yeah, the snap a little bit off to the left, and in watching film, that happened several times from Tijon Karoma, who he zips it back there good, and if the quarterback is not vigilant enough, that will happen.
They've got to get to the Boise 38-yard line, 21 yards away. Dion back on the field, number 5 in the multicolored Broncos unis. Pressure coming from the edge. And down goes, there goes the ball the other way. And it will be fallen on by one of the big guys. That's Ului Lapuaho, who came up with it, and then now a flag from the central judge. I'm not sure who he's going to call here, and this is still going on. What'll be interesting to see is who this flag is on.
It looked like Chancellor James was jumped on the pile at the end. Now
it's a 19-yard loss, or it could be a personal foul against Boise, and that would be a gigantic break for the Cougars.
And Correa is the one who punched the football out. He forced that fumble on the pressure.
Here's another outstanding defensive player, Correa. And let's see.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct by number 72 of the offense. Penalties half the distance to the goal, and it's 4th down.
I believe that's 73. Riker Matthews is 72, and I didn't see him anywhere near there.
Let's take a look at it. The ball's out. It's loose. Lapuaho, he jumps on it, and there's the jump on the pile by Chancellor James. And now
little shot to the thigh area. Yeah, that's the correct call then. Now again punting from the end zone is Johnny Linehan. Pressure here, and Linehan rips a low heater. Fair catch made at the 45-yard line. The Broncos winning the field position battle, but they cannot get on the scoreboard other than one time because Brigham Young's defense has had an outstanding evening so far, but once again Boise has out great field position. App or visit watchespn.com. With Allison Williams and Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont, and once again Boise State has great field position. Their last 4 drives starting in BYU territory, but they aren't getting the ball in the end zone.
And that'll haunt you eventually.
Finley stepping up nicely, in a little bit of trouble, and did a good job there to get something out of nothing. He'll pick up 3 for 2nd down and 7. For the man who stepped into a very difficult spot, number 62, Logan Taele, stepping in for Travis Tulioma, who is the best defensive player BYU has, and they'll tell you that themselves.
Well, the whole key to an odd defense is that nose guard. And now they're in an even front right now, but that's the guy that makes everything go. He can eat up 2 blockers, and that frees linebackers to fly around and make plays.
In the flat, Williams Rhodes made one miss, gets inside the 40, burrows down to the 37-yard line. 3rd down and 2 coming up. Harvey Longy in there on the stop.
BYU went to a man coverage on that last play with 2 guys over the top, but very rarely do they deploy man-to-man coverage. Bronco Mendenhall told us maybe 3 to 5 times in a ball game.
Boise State has whiffed on all 4 of their 3rd down opportunities. Spurbeck goes in motion to the bottom of your screen. Finley looks the other way into traffic and missed. Now here's a flag coming in very late. Let's see what this is. Will this be on Micah Hanneman? Chaz Anderson was the intended receiver.
Yeah, and they were both kind of mixing it up, but you know what, Hanneman didn't have his eyes back at the quarterback, and he hit the receiver Anderson while the ball was in the air. So I believe this will be pass interference on the defense, or they'll pick it up, one or the other. They're talking about it right now.
Bronco Mendenhall is a 1/3 of the way out on the field disputing the call.
It was close, but the contact, in my opinion, was made when the ball was in the air.
You can read his lips. We had position.
Pass interference by number 7 of the defense. It's a spot foul and an automatic 1st down.
And And no matter what Bronco thinks, it's first down for Boise State.
Well, he has a point because Hanneman did have good position, but he used his hands to push the receiver as the ball was in the air. So, I mean, that's the call you got to make. Had he kept the hands in and let Anderson run into him, I believe there'd have been no foul.
So Boise gets the break on the call. The ball marked at the Cougars 34-yard line.
Like to take shots in this type of situation.
Empty backfield. Middle screen, and BYU read it very well. Kaufusi on the stop, no gain on the play. 2nd and 10 coming up.
And Michael Davis made that play. The corner out there pressed it up and forced the receiver to come back inside. Bought enough time for Kaufusi, who is a relentless pursuer, to come over and make the play.
I've yet to see the Broncos go to the trick bag.
In the empty again.
And a timeout. Second one used by BYU. They have one remaining.
BYU calls their second timeout of the half. Media timeout.
Come back with 2nd down and 10 for the Broncos. 7-7 ball game here. The 20th ranked Boise State team. Not a very long road trip for them to get from Boise here to Provo, Utah. Blitz coming again up the middle. Hit as he throws. Finley down the field into traffic. Almost a remarkable catch. In traffic by Chaz Anderson. Micah Hanneman was stride for stride with him. There is a flag down at the 35-yard line.
Hanneman did a great job getting his head back around.
There was a false start by number 70 of the offense. There was no play. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 2nd down.
Yeah, you might want to get those whistles in a little quicker than that. So back them up 5.
Penalty on Baggett.
That'll be 2nd down at 15 now. So Boise's had incredible opportunities, Ray, field position wise, and they're not punching it in. They're not even getting that close.
I'm really impressed with the way the Cougars defense are playing here tonight. Coach Mendenhall said he thought that they would take a giant leap forward this week, and they have thus far in this first half.
They rush 4. Finley quick, and that's going to be incomplete. 3rd and 15 coming up, trying to fit it in to Thomas Spurback.
And Michael Shelton with outstanding coverage. He really cut the route off, preventing Spurback to get to the spot Finley wanted him at and expected him at.
Both coaches told us they were not happy with the tackling of their defense. They worked more on it this week, but it tells you that we're hearing this more and more, that coaches are backing off in these fall camps, fearing injuries, and they're not tackling as much in practice as they normally would do.
Right. Bronco Mendenhall said he had a very quick whistle during training camp.
Finley, middle screen, complete. Finley's gone cold, trying to fit it again to Spurback. And it will be 4th down. And once again, they're going to bring out Sean Whale and going to ask him to stick it inside the 20-yard line.
You are right, Dave, that those squandered opportunities of field position can come back to haunt you.
And it's just not what you expect from Boise State, a team that is known for imaginative and explosive offense, and we really haven't seen it yet tonight. And certainly credit BYU's defense for part of that.
And they are bringing the blitz time and time again, and I believe that is ruffling the feathers of Ryan Finley a little bit.
Well, as a young quarterback, and much as Boise is trying to confuse Tanner Mangum, that is also the case here for BYU defensively, trying to confuse Ryan Finley. So that's going to be a touchback, and Brigham Young will take over at the 20-yard line. So with Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont. We thank you very much for joining us here in Provo, Utah. The weather conditions after a hot afternoon are ideal for these two teams, and this is a battle. And what I like about this, these teams are going to play straight through 2023, and we may get a real Western rivalry out of this.
Yeah, I like it already. I think it's a budding rivalry, and you mentioned about both teams playing hard. Now, both of them kind of wilted late in the game last week and mentioned that, and they stepped up their conditioning this week. So we'll see who has more in the tank as this thing winds down.
And it's been a physical football game dominated by the defenses for both teams. Tanner Mangum hit an 84-yard touchdown pass on the opening drive, and there's a good example of great defense once again, this time from Boise State. And once again, Kamale Correa in there, the junior from Honolulu. That's a big loss.
Watching him on tape, I'm just very impressed with the way he gets after it. Now this one pretty simple. Nobody blocked him on the inside loop stunt, and he comes in and makes a solid tackle. But he comes off the edge as good as anybody I've seen in college football.
5th tackle for a loss by the Broncos defensively against the Cougars.
Boy, BYU negative 18 yards rushing before this play, David. That kind of tells you how Boise is doing.
Hine got the loss back. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Field position has been a big issue as BYU has had terrible field position for their offense. Boise State has had much better, and several of the last drives for the Broncos have been in BYU territory, but we're knotted to 7. Both those scores coming in the first quarter.
Thing about BYU, though, with Tanner Mangum back there, they can strike from anywhere on the field with his arm.
Boise bringing the heat. Will be short of the 1st down. It's a great catch by Blackman, but he looks to be short by a couple of yards. So it'll be 4th down and 2.
I was impressed with the way Mangum stood in there, waited for the play to develop, got rid of the football and took a shot, but hung in there and did it. Much different than he was last week, where the feet got happy very quickly.
You see the statistics. BYU minus 14 rush yards. There's a sack that factors into that, and there was also a bad snap. So it's not just handoffs that have led to the minus 14. Boise State just 22. So we have a defensive struggle so far. Linehan under pressure. Not much on that one, and this is one where Boise had to be careful so it didn't hit one of their players coming down to coverage. And once again, Boise State gets great field position as we get great field position with Chris Cotter in the studio. Chris. I think, Chris, there's going to be some Heisman talk for Fournette coming up. There already was a little bit before the season started, and he certainly isn't doing anything to hurt himself tonight. So total yards in this quarter combined 45. Boise State 6, BYU 39.
And a lot of it's just good defense and the blitzing. Both squads blitzing.
And here come the whistles again.
You're going to get another one of those false starts.
Yep.
Prior to the snap, a false start by number 66 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still 1st down.
Ryan Harsin had his team work on noise during the week, knowing he was going to be a loud and emotional crowd here at Lavelle Edwards. That's 4 penalties, 28 yards against Boise.
Yeah, Harsin, the first thing he told us was we got to be able to handle the noise and keep our poise. Noise and poise. Boys.
And not so much.
All right.
All of those two, that's 2 false starts on 2 consecutive drives. Good idea to get to McNichols. Has a couple of blockers, and again McNichols lowers his shoulders and goes across the 45. Got more than the penalty yards back before Wadsworth brought him down. You know, this is a name we hadn't called in a few minutes, and why not get it to your guy who might be your most effective offensive player? That'll be a gain of 10 there.
Yeah, I would feed him constantly, and here's why. He's looking at 134 yards, all-purpose from last week. He returns kickoffs. Did a nice job catching balls out of the backfield, and then just a relentless runner.
Longest run of the night for Boise State. Finley over the middle and into BYU territory again. That's Shane Williams-Rhodes making a grab at the 40-yard line, and Boise trying to play quickly. They get down after the 14-yard pickup. They do have all of their timeouts.
And Rhodes is a little dynamite package. Williams-Rhodes, 5'6", 173. He benches 310 and squats 500 pounds. That's a powerful dude.
He is among the top receivers in school history. Came into the game hitting 73 for the all-time reception record. He's got 5 tonight, so make it 68. There's a trick play. Finley looking down the field. They're waiting for him. And the defense, whoa! Kai Nakua broke it up. 2nd and 10.
Immaculate timing from Nakua coming over the top. Here it is, little toss. Lateral coming back, you're going to see. And they're going to throw it down the field. This is your trick. There's the toss. Stop. Zip it back. That's a backward pass, a lateral, the throw. But the timing from Nakua was outstanding.
Is this a clean hit? Sure looks like it. Looks like Ball and Nakua get there at the same time.
Simultaneously.
That is clean. They were trying to get it to Holden Huff, the tight end. screen. McNichols steps out of bounds, stops the clock after a gain of 7. 3rd down and 3, exactly 2 minutes remaining in our half. Michael Davis on the stop.
And this was a way that Brian Harsin and Elijah Drinkwitz designed to kind of slow the rush down. They're getting so many blitzes that you just dump it outside to your back real quick. With another 3rd down, Dave, Boise 0 for 5 thus far in this ball game.
Timeout, Boise State. Their first, they have 2 remaining.
Calls their first time out of the half.
So we'll step aside with him and see what Brian Harsin and his staff can come up with to try to get on the board and take the lead for the first time tonight. Third down 4 for Boise State in BYU territory. Finley over the top, and that's the ruling on the field is complete. And it is. Shane Williams-Rhodes converts for the first time on 3rd down for Boise State.
Not a very good throw from Finley, but an outstanding catch. You see it's behind him. He stops, turns back, goes up tall, and takes the hit, and still catches it against the defender's helmet.
Manoa Pikula was all over him that time. So that's the first 3rd down conversion for Boise State, and they're in at least field goal territory. McNichols, there's a double handoff. That's Williams-Rhodes. He'll get inside the 15. So a very quickly handled double handoff. Kafusi in on the stop.
Boy, Kafusi, he makes this play coming around from the backside, and it's a hustle play. Here he is up there. Watch him spin out now, and he's going to finish this thing. And that's chasing a much faster man, but he takes a good angle. He is so athletic at 6'8", 280.
Played basketball for the Broncos. And there he is again, number 90. Tackling Jeremy McNichols, forcing 3rd down. Clock now about to roll under 1 minute. And it's going to be 3rd down, Ray, in about 5.
Big 3rd down here. And thus far, BYU has only given up 1 first down in 6 attempts by Boise on 3rd downs.
Hold everything, stop everything. They've got to get these whistles in more quickly. Someone's going to get hurt on one of these non-plays.
Prior to the snap, a false start by number 74 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
That's the 3rd false start in this quarter that I can think of. There may have been another one earlier in the ball game. So instead of 3rd and 5, it's 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, and the poison noise comes back again, and they are struggling with the loudness of this crowd. They're getting into it, and they're helping the home team. And this is a veteran offensive line for Boise. Maybe having a new quarterback from last year to this makes a difference, but they should be able to control that a lot better.
And Brian Harsin consulting with the referee Cooper Castleberry.
I think he's complaining the same thing about you were, Dave, and that's get the whistle blown when you see that stuff so that we don't have anything like that.
The foul, stop the clock. There's a 10-second runoff. Please set the clock to 31 seconds.
That's what the conversation was about. Although if I'm Harsin, I agree. The official's first job is to protect the safety of the players, and I just think those whistles are coming in, the flag coming in just a little tardy. So now the runoff takes it under 30. Looking at McNichols on the screen. Instead they go the other way. And not out of bounds. The receiver there, Fred Warner, in there on the stop. Devin Demas could not get out of bounds. So Boise will just burn a TO here and try for the field goal.
Excellent play by Fred Warner, tracking that down, and Brian Harsin uses that timeout.
And before the field goal, let's check in with Chris Cotter. Back in studio. Well, you're right about that, Chris. Eastern Michigan wins on the road in a non-conference game today at Wyoming. It's the first time they've won on the road non-conference since 1988.
That's back when they were the Hurons.
My goodness, Toledo was a winner today with a big win, and Bowling Green routing Maryland in College Park. So the field goal kicker, Tyler Rossa, in there. The redshirt junior from Marietta. He was 1 for 1 in field goals last week. He did have a PAT block. This one from 31.
So you're saying we had some action going around today.
And it's only September. Tough snap. And for the first time, Boise State takes the lead as the half runs out. The Broncos finally able to get something out of the great field position. We had not had a score since 4:13 to go in the first quarter. So Boise State leads BYU 10-7 at the half. Now let's send you to the BMW halftime report and Chris Cotter. Chris.
Bronco, first start for your freshman quarterback, a touchdown, couple of turnovers. How would you say he has led this offense?
He's doing fine. Running game needs to get going to help him out. That's the biggest key right now.
What can you do better to run the football in the second half?
Oh, assignments. They're twisting, moving a lot up front. We got a lot of assignment mistakes.
All right, what about defensively? What has impressed you, holding them to 10 points? Pretty good on third down.
Oh, they've been great. Field position's been inside our 50 a bunch, and they're playing really well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
It is a whiteout here tonight in Provo, Utah, but it's the blue and orange of Boise State in front on a last-second field goal in the second quarter, 10-7 over BYU. Welcome back. Along with Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont. We'll hear from Allison Williams here shortly. Who knew that an old-fashioned Big Ten game was going to break out today instead of the kind of high-scoring football we expect, particularly from Boise State. But this has been a defensive-oriented game.
It has. In the second quarter combined, both teams didn't even make 100 yards, Dave. And, you know, it's not what we expected, but it's a good football game. They are playing well, hitting hard, and the BYU defense has made incredible strides from what they did last week. And you look at some of these things that they've done, and getting Kai Nakua back is a huge deal. He comes up with the interception. Then Boise goes to the bag of tricks, and Nakua shows up again to break this play up. And then the other star is Bronson Kafusi. Here he is with a little inside move, tackling, making a play. And the BYU defense, to me, is the story here tonight.
So just moments ago, Allison Williams caught up with the Broncos head coach, Brian Harsin.
Coach Harsin, what can you do better offensively to take advantage of the field positioning you've had?
Well, eliminate the mistakes that we're hurting ourselves with. We just got to go out there and execute, settle down a little bit. We've kind of gotten some rhythm, and we've kind of hurt ourselves. If we can take that away and just go out there, execute, relax a little bit, that's really what we need in this second half.
What are those mistakes that are hurting you?
Well, we've had some false starts, a couple formations in there, the things that we can control, and we just talked about that. So our defense is playing great. Special teams stepped up there at the end. We got to get the offense going here. I think we will the second half.
How's Ryan Finley managed the noise as he played with the poise that you were looking for?
He has. He's done a great job. Yeah, he's really handled everything out there. I think he's doing a fantastic job, and expect him to continue that the second half. Thank you.
And he's going to find out right away, because Ryan Finley is taking the field right now after a touchback on the kickoff, and he'll take over at the 25-yard line. It'll be 227 consecutive games. The Broncos have not been shut out. You got to go back to 1997, the last time that happened.
Ryan Finley, 13 of 20 for 153 yards in that first half, and played relatively well.
Rolling right here with McNichols as a shield, and delivers a strike for a short gain out to the 29-yard line. We take a look at the numbers from the first half.
Well, you see the rush yards. Neither team really lighting it up, and the BYU minus 14. A lot of that due to the large loss on the bad snap. But this has been a situation where Boise State has not taken advantage of their field position. You wonder, will that come back to hurt them?
Second down and 6. To the ground, McNichols will get to the 33. Sets up a very important third down and 2. McNichols, straight ahead runner. Very impressive player, although he only has 25 yards on 9 carries. He does have the Boise touchdown. Third and 2. Broncos 1 out of 7 on third downs in the first half. Finley, that's a rope, and down the field will go Chaz Anderson into BYU territory and all the way down. They'll mark him out of bounds inside the 30-yard line, it looks like. We'll check on that as Michael Wadsworth brings him down.
And Hanneman has the coverage here, but a great route by Anderson stems him up the field, and that creates a separation. Then a bad angle by Hanneman to finish that play, and Wadsworth saved him.
Well, that's a much shorter gain than we first thought. The ruling is he stepped out of bounds at the Boise State 48-yard line. So it is a first down for the Broncos, but instead of a long gain, it's 15 yards, but it's still a first. Interesting looking blocking pattern that time on the pitch to Demas. You saw one of the tight ends come over, Jake Hardy, and sort of block into the flow.
Here's a look at that last play, Dave, and we can maybe catch where he steps out of bounds. Chaz Anderson, yep, right there. You can see it. Boom. Good job by the officials. They're all over it.
So Demas getting the opportunity. They said he would get more carries, and he does. Bounces it to the edge. Cuts back toward the marker and does get the first down. Some slippery moves by Demas. I'm sure, Ray, you would rather he had stepped into the run and gone forward more, but he got the first down.
That's twice now he's basically outrun his blocking. He's just too quick, but he did break the tackle on the edge, and he's an interesting guy. At only 5'8", 175 pounds, when he runs between the tackles, he's one of those guys that disappears. You can't find him as a linebacker, and a lot of times you end up being able to just throw an arm out maybe on him.
He checks out of the ball game. McNichols comes back in. Fake to him. Finley's got plenty of time. Right back to McNichols circling out of the backfield. That'll be a short gain. Direct hit from JLD that time to slow that play down. Second down and 8 is next.
Looks to me like Boise is trying to work the perimeter a little bit more, getting the ball out on the edge. We saw it with the out pass. We saw it with the sweep, and now on this flare to the back. And I think that's one of their halftime adjustments. Try to work the perimeter a little bit more. Here they go again.
And McNichols gets out there fairly quickly. There is a flag down on the play, 2 of them as a matter of fact. So before we tell you what down and distance it is, McNichols shaken up also, and that's very unfortunate for Boise State.
Holding by number 74 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
That call on Archie Lewis. As you see, Jeremy McNichols not doing too well right now.
Did not see what happened. Maybe we'll get a clearer picture here. Oh, could it be that left leg? That looked a little awkward there.
Hard to see really anything definitive on that look.
We will step aside. Looks like he's going to get help up from the training staff. Boise State in front. And there's Jeremy McNichols. Great to see that he's jogging off whatever was ailing him momentarily. He was in a lot of pain for about 30 seconds there, but he just gave a thumbs up, maybe to some family and friends over there.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent to me, Dave, he got hit where no man wants to get hit.
So on 2nd and 16, he said, moving the conversation along quickly. Boise State has 3 receivers at the top of your screen. Pressure, Kaufusi on the chase. Finley escapes one time. That's a smart play there by Finley. Kaufusi was all over him, and he spun out, and as McNichols comes back on the field, it'll be 3rd down and 16.
You are getting all kinds of different moves. Watch what this defender's going to do. He's going to loop around and create havoc. That's JLD. And all these different stunts that they're doing up front is confusing this veteran offensive line for Boise State. You got to give Bronco Mendenhall a lot of credit for his defensive game plan.
Jeremiah Leutah-Duyer, call him JLD. 3rd and 16. Pressure again from Kaufusi, and Finley going down the sideline and missed the receiver by several yards. So it'll be 4th down and once again Sean Whale, but hold on, there's a flag down. Sione Takitaki providing the pressure that time.
Finley expected his receiver to continue down the sidelines, Anderson, but he broke over the post.
A personal foul, roughing the passer by number 16 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, Takitaki went a little bit too far.
Take a look at it again and see what happens here at the end. And he just took basically a forearm to the face. not a really bad one, but you cannot hit a quarterback in the helmet.
Yeah, a little lower maybe. A chop to the chest might have gotten away with it. So fresh set of downs here. Jet sweep to Williams Road. BYU will snuff it after about a yard, if he even got that far. Manoa Pakula, and they were worried if he wouldn't be able to play or not. He cleared concussion protocol, did Pakula. But Bronco Mendenhall said he might last 1 or 2 plays. He might be able to play the whole game. He has played the whole game.
And he's played well. And the entire BYU defense has played outstanding in this ball game, making great strides from their inconsistent effort last week against Nebraska.
Fake to McNichols. Finley set up for some time. On the run, he finds the receiver inside the 15 and tight roping down the sidelines, but he's out of bounds. It will not be a touchdown.
That's a nice little play along the edge by David Lucero, who really is not even on our depth chart in terms of tight ends.
They listed 4, and he's the 5th tight end.
Right. And he comes across the field. Nice little scheme on the bootleg, and let's see where he steps out, because you're right, Dave, that's a tightrope job.
They got him at the 3-yard line and go to McNichols. He knows where the money is. His second rushing touchdown of the night.
Yeah, he looks fully recovered there. Oof. I love the way he runs. He is a north and south kind of guy, straight ahead, not a bit of dancing in him.
So after BYU took the lead on their opening drive in spectacular fashion on an 84-yard touchdown pass, Boise State has scored the last 17 points. That one, 75 yards in 10 plays in a tick under 4 minutes.
And the big play on that one was that penalty that moved them along, got them down in there to where they could get something done with the bootleg.
After having 1 block last week, Rossa has been perfect on the 2 PAT efforts. Now the ball is in the court of the 22-year-old freshman, Tanner Mangum, to see if he can rally the BYU offense that has gone cold because the Broncos' D has been tough.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by the Cinnamon Swirl French Toast Breakfast Sandwich, only at Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. And Go RVing. Find your away at GoRVing.com.
Get something going on the running game. That's the Cougars' issue to me, I think. And you don't have Taysom Hill and his 90-plus yards that he really kind of changed the game last week.
That's my partner, the well-known author of Driftwood, Ray Bentley, at their BYU TV facilities. Founded in 2001, and look at that. You said they got to run the ball. They're minus 14.
Yeah, and they're also down by 10. So.
And they're not going to get good field position. This has been a huge problem for BYU at the 15-yard line. Now, we've moved Allison Williams from field level into the stands with the Tanner Mangum fan club, I believe, Allison.
Yes, and they are the official fan club. It's family up here. Sister Abby, Mom Karen, and watching their son play for the first time at the collegiate level, because last weekend when he had that miraculous game in Nebraska, you were watching your other son, one of your other sons, at Idaho State, a senior there. So describe for me what last Saturday was like for you, because both boys had such tremendous games.
Certainly didn't expect that at all. We were there at Idaho State to support our senior, and he had a wonderful catch, amazing catch, one-handed. We thought, okay, that's terrific. In the meantime, Tanner has come into the Nebraska game, which we are watching on someone's cell phone's live feed. We're watching the plays. We recognize that it's down to the last seconds, and it's probably going to be a Hail Mary or not. And all of a sudden, our phone dies. With 20 seconds to go, our phone dies. And we don't know anything for a few seconds until our other phones start lighting up. And people are saying, oh my goodness, it happened, they win, and it was just so exciting.
I can't even imagine the emotions you were feeling not knowing the outcome of that throw, of that play.
And yet here we are sitting at Idaho State. We can't react because we're at Idaho State. So Abby and I actually, we left the building and started screaming.
Now,
We were so excited.
And Madison, of course, had a great game. His catch was actually number 2 in the Sports Center top 10. Tanner was number 1. What was that banter like between the brothers?
You know what? They were so proud of each other. They used to play together. Well, of course, they played together all their lives, but they're so supportive of each other. Tanner felt like Madison probably should have been number 1. And Madison was so happy for Tanner. I mean, you have to respect the Hail Mary.
Absolutely. And congratulations on a tremendous performance by both your sons. And enjoy the rest of the game here in Provo as he leads this team for the first time at home.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Karen, Abby, nice to meet you. Guys, back up to you.
Ladies, thank you all very much. Unfortunately, during all that, BYU could not generate a first down. And the rugby punt will be fair caught at the 35-yard line. So this is the play that they didn't see live. I think since then they've probably seen it, I don't know, 20 or 30 times.
At
Last
least.
play of the game.
Just throws it up. You know, when we talked to Tanner about it, he said he didn't quite get enough on it. That he thought he might not have gotten it to the end zone. It was just about a 50-yard throw through the air. He can hum it 70, but he didn't want to throw it up into the stands. He threw it very high, and just the smile on his face kind of told the whole story when he recounted it to us.
But it's a different story right now with the way the Boise run defense in particular is playing, is beginning to dictate this game. Decent field position again for the Broncos. Finley is now 6 for his last 6 as he gets it out very quickly to Thomas Spurbeck, who lit up BYU last year with 6 catches, 143 and a TD.
Finley is settling in, Dave. 5 for 5 for 48 yards on the previous drive, and he comes out here and throws another strike. He's been impressive, and he's got a pretty good whip too. You know, I've been amazed at the strength of the Tanner Mangum arm, but Finley's been showing me something as well.
Fake to McNichols, under a little pressure, throws and away. That almost hit where Allison was sitting just a moment ago with the family of Mangum. Fred Warner providing the pressure. So here's a big 3rd down and 4.
This to me is a huge play for the BYU defense. If they can get themselves a 3 and out right here, maybe come up with some decent field position, which they have not had throughout the ball game, they might be able to change the momentum here. They got to have a stop.
Finley in some trouble. Has no room to run, and he wisely goes down. He actually couldn't see past his own lineman to decide where to go. He couldn't get anybody out of the way. Pikula in there, Warner also, and BYU holds.
This is a good rush here because guys kept their eyes on the prize, and that's the quarterback Finley, and he's looking all over the place for some way to escape, and finally Pikula shows up and gets him down.
That time maybe a little north-south running would have benefited him, but instead it's a big break for the BYU defense. They earned as Micah Hanneman awaits the punt from Sean Whale. And they're going to have to hurry, Boise, because that thing's down to 5 on the clock. They get it off in time. It's a low kick. Hanneman's did not get a chance to move up, and once again Whale has pinned BYU inside the 20-yard line, this time at the 16. NFL Insiders and Sunday NFL Countdown, a new way to get coast-to-coast league coverage on Sunday morning. Start your day with the Insiders team for all of the latest headlines and breaking news. Then the Countdown crew goes inside the storylines as only they can. Meet the new NFL Sunday morning starting at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN, 4 a.m. on the islands, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. So if you're just sitting down wondering, BYU scored, when was that? That was 14:09 in the first quarter.
Yeah, 3rd play of the game, and they come up with 75. Since then, just 89 as the Boise State defense is living up to their billing.
Mangum in some trouble here. He'll fall forward and actually pick up a couple of yards there. Since that 84-yard touchdown heave to Juergens, it's been 2 interceptions and some snap problems.
Right, some growth issues with Tanner Mangum. Threw the ball up in the air on the first one. Second one, he just didn't see the receiver on the outside. Here's a bad snap that really cost him, and it's been the typical what you would expect growing pains for a young quarterback.
His first start. Empty backfield as Brown sneaks out. Coverage. And this is a coverage sack. Coming in on there is Tanner Vallejo, the outstanding linebacker for Boise State, but there wasn't anybody open.
No doubt a coverage sack, outstanding coverage, just a three-man rush. And then Tanner Vallejo, who had dropped back, here he is. You'll see him come from this area in the screen. He was in pass coverage and no one around him, so he said, you know what, I'm going to trigger on this thing and go get him, and he comes up with a huge play. That's a football player right there.
That's an 11-yard loss, the third sack of the night for the Broncos defense. Third down and 19, and of course in college that's against your rushing yard, so it's minus 18 now, and Mangum in some trouble, has a running lane, but he's going to throw it wide open to the 40-yard line. 30. Blackman inside the 25. Once again, the Boise secondary had a lapse on a scramble by Mangum.
And give Mangum a lot of credit on this one because he bought the time for this to happen. Watch how he's going to avoid the rush. It's a five-man rush. He steps up, gets to the edge, and you have a defender on the outside who loses his eyes. You got to keep your eyes on the man you are covering, and that's the second time tonight that has happened to the Boise State defensive backfield.
So Devon Blackman gets a 70-yard reception, and all of a sudden BYU is knocking to the door at the 23-yard line. Under 6 minutes in the third quarter. Looking for that end zone all the way off the shoulder fake, using the height of the receiver, and it is incomplete. Both players probably think there's going to be interference, which means the official did a good job by not throwing the flag.
Moxie did an outstanding job.
Here comes a flag, and this might be unsportsmanlike conduct against Boise and Moxie. He was lobbying for pass interference. What he is going to get is
after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct by number 2 of the defense. Penalty's half the distance to the goal, and it's first down.
Yeah, that's just losing your composure right there. I mean, no harm on the play. There's no reason to get all upset like that. You know, he had great position, did Moxie. He cut off the route. That's why he wanted the interference. But he's got to choke it down right there and just go play the next play.
There was a tiny bit of push. Field judge is telling him to walk it and then throws the flag.
It's not smart.
Running the ball, just not an option right now for BYU. Boise's defense just shutting it down. Zalgie Brown. Just in time of Tuia in there on number 90 to lead that parade of tacklers.
And Tyler Horn as well, Dave. And this defensive line for Boise State has been outstanding. And that is primarily why BYU has not been able to run the ball. It's more, I think, how good Boise is compared to the deficiencies of BYU.
They bring Dye in and they give it to Trey Dye. Flag is down and Dye went nowhere. One thing about Boise, we saw it last week, and we saw a pretty fast team last week in FSU.
Holding by number 85 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
But this Boise defense is fast.
And Brian Sampson's going to get the holding.
Please reset the game clock to 4.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy call
tackle
there. That's not even holding. They could.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Boise jerseys in the frame at the end of that play.
So now they're back at the 21-yard line, second down and 20. It's Matthews going in motion. And great run that time by Hine, breaking tackles and breaking the plane of the end zone. Touchdown, BYU.
Just a power run by Hine. He's going to run right over Ben Weaver right there. Now Weaver did have a blocker kind of laying on his back. That was Riker Matthews, which might have taken his legs away, but that's just raw power from Adam Hine.
So a 70-yard heave as the defense let down, and then a mental error leading to an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty helping on that drive, and BYU also overcomes a holding call with by far their longest run of the night. In fact, this is the longest run of the night for either team in this Western slugfest. Now Boise State's lead trimmed to 3. There is our score and time. Boise State 17, BYU having just gotten in the end zone on a 21-yard run by Adam Hine made this group happy. We want you to be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like this group in Provo all season long. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell. Learn how you can win a chance to join your school student section at the college football playoff. Of course, it all begins on New Year's Eve, and then January 11th in Glendale will be the championship game. In the meantime, we got ourselves a game. Well, we always did. It was close all the way. Boise had hung up 17 unanswered. Now Jeremy McNichols trying to find room, and he will get nowhere to the 14-yard line. But then Adam Hine puts BYU on the board where they had not been since their first drive. And once again, Ray, it was a long pass play.
Right, and it was Tanner Mangum, freestyling, breaking, contained, getting to the edge and finding a man wide open. Then the unsportsmanlike by Moxie. After he mixed it up with Matthews, that led to the Hine touchdown run. And just like that, it's a 3-point difference.
And field position has been a big deal in this game, and this is the worst we've seen from Boise in quite some time. Back at the 14, Demas is the tailback, number 26. Fake to him, Finley on the roll, dumps it out. That's going to be a good gain here for Boise State. Outside the 30-yard line, Holden Huff, the redshirt junior from Rockland, California.
And Ryan Finley has hit on 10 of his last 12 attempts, playing much better here in the second half. The accuracy has been there, the decision making, and he has moved this Bronco offense smartly down the field.
Well, Eli Drinkwitz is the offensive coordinator, but Brian Harson's fingerprints are all over that offensive game plan, and they're calling some nice plays. Demas could not quite escape the tackle of Harvey Longy, number 21 for BYU, gain of a couple.
And Longy just keeps getting better. He was a running back, transferred over, and they made a linebacker out of him. And, he has a knack for getting up in the hole, which he obviously learned when he carried the football.
Finley, deep drop back this time under pressure. That's a terrific throw and a great catch. It looks like Shane Williams-Rhodes outside the 40, an 11-yard pickup. Wadsworth on the stop again for BYU.
Yes, Finley's starting to spin it right here. This is on the run, making a really nice throw. He had to drill this in. There was a defender right there. He just snaps it off quickly and drills it right between the numbers. Well, right on the number. I guess it was a single-digit guy.
Good point. McNichols now, number 13, the tail. Go get it. Gets by Kafusi. McNichols. Kafusi ends up tackling him, but he had to chase him a long way. Wadsworth got him low. Kafusi got him high. Gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. I look forward to watching Bronson Kafusi in a couple of years in the NFL. Maybe in a year, actually. He's senior. Has already done his mission.
The thing I like most about him, he's got unbelievable talent, but his motor never stops.
Finley hanging in, middle of the field. Dive, grab, and inside the 35 goes Williams-Rhodes before he is dragged down by Kai Nakua. First down, Boise, and you're right. Ryan Finley last week, Ray, threw for 129 yards, and he is way better than that. Right now, unofficially, 256.
And I think he's getting more comfortable sitting back in the pocket instead of trying to get out of there very quickly and all those type things. Second half, Finley, 9 of 11 for 103 yards.
Williams-Rhodes had only 2 receptions last week for 16 yards. This time they bubble screen it. McNichols. Ooh, that's a sweet move. McNichols, touchdown, Boise! "29 yards.
And he stopped, put the brakes on to set up the block, and it worked to perfection. That was his center, Marcus Henry, out there leading the way. And Wadsworth is trying to make the play. You get the push right there, and then the cutback, and that is a guy who just knows how to play this game. He's got an incredible knack.
So that is how you respond when BYU comes out and scores on you. Boise State goes 86 yards in 6 plays in 2:23 and regains their 10-point advantage 24-14 with 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in our third quarter. Now there's the magic 24 number for BYU. We talked earlier in the broadcast about Bronco Mendenhall's 24-point number, that it's so important for him. If they give up more than 24 points, they tend to lose. They 13-28 under Mendenhall when that happens.
That makes perfect sense. That's his number. Here's another look at this screen pass. Here's the key block. You can just see it, 70 to the center. Marcus Henry pushes Wadsworth, and that gives him just too much momentum, and it allows McNichol to cut back, and then he weaves his way back into the end zone. That's just great hustle. A center making a block some 20 yards down the field. Bronco a little disgruntled over that last sequence.
And he's mad at the head defensive coach, and that's himself. Take a knee here. BYU will take over at the 25-yard line. Well, we got a fabulous match tomorrow in New York City. Number 1, number 2, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer. Coverage beginning at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's the U.S. Open Championship presented by Mercedes-Benz, and also streaming live on Watch ESPN. You can watch at 3:30. If you have a pick, and I'm going to go Federer.
Yeah, okay, I'll take Djokovic.
Yeah,
but we've got a bit of a tennis match breaking out here. It's been going back and forth.
Well, it's been great this quarter. We didn't really know. We commented at halftime this looked like a 1968 Big Ten game, and anything but that now in this quarter.
Let's see if the young freshman Tanner Mangum can answer. It's his serve.
And there's a good example of his arm strength on that pass. He just whipped that out to Mitch Matthews. Gain of 8, 2nd down and 2. Here's a look at where Tanner has been throwing the football.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of production, deep shots, right? These right here. He's taken 6 deep shots in the ball game, and he's hit on 84 yards, 70 yards, and 41 yards. I think they should take more deep shots.
Thrown for 251 tonight with the 2 interceptions in the TD. Well, he's got time to find the deep receiver here. Crowd's going crazy, and there he buggy whips one. Ooh, and that ball is live and an alert play. Now they're going to call incomplete. Nick Kurtz just took a shot in the back, and then Mitchell Juergens grabbed the ball on the bounce and got out of bounds with it, but the call on the field is incomplete.
Well, there was no mercy from Maston on that hit. Mercy Maston, he's just bringing it right there. Caught him on the thigh.
I think that's a catch. And that's now Juergens may have caught that out of bounds, and that's perhaps why. But look at that. He got his feet down.
That's close. See if they ring down. I believe Juergens was out of bounds.
Definitely.
I think it's going to be a moot point.
Yep. Ruling on the field is going to stand here. 3rd down and 2, and it's a 1st down. Across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Straight ahead run play for BYU with Hine. They have not had a lot of success running at the middle of the Broncos defense, but they do this time.
And when they have had success, it's been Adam Hine. Without a doubt, I think he is grabbing the reins and is making a case for being the number 1 back in this BYU offense.
15 carries, 42 yards, 21 of those on 1 touchdown run. Caught it to the 40, and there's the Boise defense closing very quickly. Devon Blackman picks up a hard-earned 4. As Mercy Maston in there again. That's just the wrong first name for a defensive player.
It should be no Mercy Maston. But I got to tell you, Tanner Mangum is impressing me with these throws that he's making from the far hash. He's throwing darts on the outside of the numbers on the other side. That's a long throw, and it's getting there quickly. Not many guys can do that.
Pitch out to Hine. He'll get to the next level and get into Boise State territory before he is dragged down at the Boise 46-yard line. Dylan Summer-Gardner in there on the stop.
And they've got a cluster of 3 tight ends over here on the right side, and they do a great job blocking down the field. You see a couple guys with their men on the ground. And that's what you need. If you're going to run the football, you got to have guys blocking people, and they did a nice job of it there.
That'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. You know, we always talk about coaching adjustments. Well, they got the play off in time. I was surprised, and there's a big hit after the incompletion. I really thought they'd wind that thing down. Now it is the end of the third quarter. And Boise State leads BYU 24-14 in a very exciting third quarter, in part because of the efforts of Jeremy McNichols. Watch this little move. Out of my way.
It is a sea of fours here in Provo as the BYU student section paying tribute to their senior quarterback Taysom Hill, who wore number 4, lost for the season due to a season-ending injury, but he is certainly in their thoughts as they hold up those cards with his number, waving them in the air. Chants of Taysom breaking out during the break. A really great scene, guys, here, and I'm sure Taysom Hill, watching somewhere, is very touched by that.
I think we all are. Thank you, Allison, very much. We start the fourth quarter with BYU and Taysom's replacement, Tanner Mangum, falling forward as he had nowhere to go with that pass. And it'll be maybe a half a yard there. Third down and 9.5 coming up. Third quarter total yards, 280 in the third quarter.
How about that?
Boise at 160, BYU 120. That was after 100 total in the second quarter. So you talk about halftime adjustments. Coaching staffs have clearly made it, and the players have responded in front of a sellout crowd of over 63,000 tonight. Delayed handoff to Juergens, breaking one tackle. Trying to get to that edge, and he can't do it. The pursuit for Boise, too good that time.
And Mercy Masson shows up again to make a play, and it's a decision time for Bronco Mendenhall. Looks like he's bringing out the punt team.
Well, you talked about this earlier. Boise had seen the situation at 4th and 6 or 7. A little bit considerably a more difficult gamble than if you had 2 or 3 yards to go. And with Linehan, they'll see if they can't pin him back.
Well, there's another opportunity here for a fake.
Boise with one man hanging back at the 5-yard line. And he'll just take a conventional punt here. Oh, what a play. That's inside the 5, down to the 2. Let's see if they do rule it down. Not a touchback. Yes, they do.
Mitch Matthews came in there and made a whale of a play. Now, the rule in college football is if the ball crosses the plane, then that's a touchback. And Matthews well aware of that. He's going to catch it and then throw it back into the field of play. That's an unbelievable play by Mitch Matthews, the senior, who just a smart, headsy football player.
So miserable field position for the Broncos. At the 2. And that's where they're going to stay. McNichols were not able to go north to south. Let's take you back, by the way. I mentioned Taysom Hill and the locker room in Lincoln that BYU had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. If you had a chance to see that footage, if you missed that footage, we'll have it for you here in just a moment. Remarkable swing of emotions. Finley from his end zone. Going to take a shot down the field into coverage. Intercepted by Nakua at the 35-30. Nakua inside the 20. Down the sideline. He'll be knocked out of bounds at about the 11 or 10 yard line. And Finley throws a critical interception, and BYU's in great shape.
And the impact Nakua has made coming back into the lineup this week has solidified this Cougar defense. And another mistake by Finley. This is basically, I think, the second one of the ball game, his second pick that he would love to have back. He is not seeing the safety when he has guys running down the sideline, and he's not throwing the ball outside where it needs to be to get away from the safety. And Nakua can cover some ground.
Both the young quarterbacks with 2 interceptions both times, Ray. I think they just did not see those safeties on those plays. Now Brigham Young in a great position at the 12-yard line. Mangum flips to the end zone. Flag down. Oh! That's an unbelievable grab. Touchdown, Blackman!
How did he catch that? Now, there is a flag, Dave, as they were fighting.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at the way Blackman's reacting. It's Moxie. Not Moxie, but that time Dante Dion, who's had 2 interceptions. He wants a flag against Brigham Young. This is going to be interesting.
Well, Blackman and Dion were fighting. I mean, they were both tussling, pushing, and the flag comes out, but I couldn't believe the catch was made.
Catch was spectacular. Is it going to hold up?
Well, that's what they're talking about, and we'll find out.
Pass interference by number 19 of the offense. A 15-yard penalty and replay first down.
You know, I knew something was up, Ray, when you saw Mangum come over to Blackman and kind of pull him away, and Blackman's reaction after that gave us the first hint.
Well, let's take a look at it. Here's the little play action, and Mangum's going to throw it up down the sidelines, and they were kind of wrestling a little bit before that, and it was due to the great position by Dante Dion. He cut the route off. How about that grab, though? That's one of them Odell Beckham specials.
Fans here, I think you can figure out their reaction. So now back to the 27-yard line. First down and long. Mangum. Blackman again. Gets to the 21. They're going to say he was down. Gain of 6. So let's take another look. Was this interference?
And they were both battling, and the reason I believe it was called on the offense is because Dion had position. And in order for Blackman to get by him, he had to push off on him. He initiated the contact, which is kind of different than what happened when Jonathan Moxie got the PI called on him.
Second down and 19. They go onto the ground here with Brown. Brown gets inside the 10, the 5, and down to the 1.
And all this passing from Tanner Mangum has spread out this BYU defense. And that allows the run game to get going. And they caught him on a blitz and gashed him right up the middle.
Very similar to what they did on that final drive against Nebraska, running draw plays with the time running out of that game. That one worked to perfection. Brown stays in at tailback, no chance. And that is once again the merciless Mercy Maston.
You have to block the edge on these things because they're just too good coming off the edge. Here's Maston right here. Watch it. He doesn't get blocked. He comes tight down the line and bam, takes him out in the backfield.
Loss of a couple of attack to the 2. 8 tackles for a loss by this Boise State defense. Marcel Yates is the coordinator. He sits upstairs. He likes it there.
Yes, a quiet, sterile environment, he says.
It's anything but in the stadium outside the press box. Play action fake. Mangum in some trouble. There's a helmet down, and so is the quarterback. And a flag down because the guy without the helmet made the tackle. Justin Taimatuia cannot continue to play when his helmet comes off. Even with all that hair to protect his head, this is going to be a flag against Boise State.
And it's so hard to stop yourself when the helmet comes off. That's a really tough penalty.
A personal foul by number 90 of the defense. Playing without a helmet. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, and it's an automatic first down.
I like the eye black on Taimatuia.
Yes, it reminds me of somebody I know well.
All right, I used to do that Alice Cooper look myself, but here's the big man right here, and watch when his helmet comes off. Now they tell you, right there, it's a hand to the face, but they can't go back and call that. But when your helmet comes off, you have to stop. How you do it, I don't know.
Look at him go. As we go to the end zone, is he in? No call from the officials yet.
I don't think he went in.
How about the fact that he just kept going?
Well, that's what you do.
I know.
As a football player.
He didn't care.
How to, to stop, to have a guy stop.
No touchdown, by the way.
It's almost unreasonable to ask a guy to stop without a helmet. I understand protecting players, but, man.
Did he get in?
It's so counterintuitive.
He made a great play. All right, second and goal. That's an automatic first down, that penalty. So second down and goal, BYU bunching up. Mangum, slant, missed it. Will there be a flag? No.
Yes, should be. I thought
so too, and it came in late, but I think Moxie made some contact, and that'll be another PI on him.
Without a doubt, he hit the shoulder of Matthews to impede his progress across the middle. He got there too soon with the right arm over the top.
So it'll be moved up a little bit.
Pass interference by number 2 of the defense. The penalty's half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
He had the left arm up under the armpit, and he clubbed him with the right arm before the ball got there.
It's a great call, too. A slant with the big receiver as they go right up the gut. And are they in? I'm still waiting on a call.
He was in.
Yep, they got it. They got it. Touchdown, BYU.
And Tanner Mangum almost lost his helmet as guys were trying to rip his head off at the end of that thing.
Don't be fooled by that minus 30 because sack yards count against the quarterback in college football and count against your rushing totals. So a 1-yard plunge ends a 12-yard 5-play drive set up by the Kai Nakua interception. Now the last time BYU went down and scored, Boise State came right back with a quick drive of their own in about 2.5 minutes and scored.
Nice hold.
Low line drive by Sampson. 3 points separate these teams. And by the way, there was a lot at stake coming in. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Earlier, Allison Williams showed you the impact of Taysom Hill on the Bronco fans. His injury certainly had an impact on Bronco Mendenhall.
I expect us to stand behind Taysom and make sure that he's at the heart of everything we're doing.
There we go.
And this victory doesn't happen without him as well, from a leadership perspective, from an ability perspective, and how he played today.
That was inside the Cougars locker room following that win over Nebraska and the emotional ride that Bronco Mendenhall is on. And guess what? He's in another one here with Boise State 24-21 in the fourth quarter. His team taking advantage of a Boise turnover.
You know, it reminded me of the old thrill of victory and agony of defeat that they kind of went all combined in one little segment in the locker room after that game.
McNichols with an opportunity to return the kick, but BYU's done a pretty good job covering him. Then some sloppy tackling, and McNichols is brought down at the 31-yard line. And another late flag coming in. I didn't see what that might have been.
Well, Huntsman got hit. He one of the coverage men on the kickoff team late. Somebody didn't stop on the whistle is what happened. I believe this will be against Boise.
Well, there's that poise issue that Brian.
After the play, unnecessary roughness by number 24 of the receiving team. The penalty is 15 yards, and it's first down.
And they got Cameron Miles for that little extracurricular. Bronco Mendenhall talked about having Taysom Hill be at the heart of everything they do. Well, he's definitely at the heart of all the fans here as they understand what Taysom meant to this team and this program and this university.
10 penalties on Boise for 69 yards. They're back at their own 16 following the mistake. Blitz picked up, but Finley is sacked. Battered about at the 12-yard line, a loss of 3 or 4 different BYU players. The ball still being fought for, but
the ruling on the field is that the quarterback was down before the ball came out.
And it's Graham Rowley who makes the play. He's rushing right up here, and he's just going to push his man back. Archie Lewis, he bull rushes him right into the quarterback Finley's lap.
Tale also got a good shot at the number 62. That's the third sack by the BYU D. Second down and 14. Under 10 minutes in this game. Another flag. Make it 11 penalties.
Another false start for Boise. That's at least the fourth one.
A false start by number 74 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
It's the second for Archie Lewis.
This morning on game day, those who picked BYU mentioned how hard it is to win at Lavelle Edwards. And you're getting an example of it right now. Look where they are and listen to this noise.
Yeah, they're backed right into that student section. It's hard to hear.
McNichols on 2nd and 19. Broke one ankle tackle, gets outside the 10. To the 12-yard line before Davis brings him down, picks up the penalty yardage back, but it's still 3rd and long.
And I believe the BYU Cougars right now are riding a wave of emotion, and they're playing their hearts out, and they're smelling a chance to come back and steal another game.
22% for Boise State on third down in this game. Screen pass, one-on-one. First man missed by McNichols. Gets through a couple of others, but he'll be short. A hearty run, but still way too many white shirts. Fred Warner led the parade of tacklers after the 7-yard gain. Sean Whale back in a punt for the Broncos.
And Bronco Mendenhall dialed up at just a 3-man rush, so he had 8 back in coverage. That forced Finley to drop it down, and then people rallied to make the play. It's a good defensive call and execution thereof. And it looks like BYU's coming after this one.
They are. And Whale got rid of it. He had one block last week. Fair catch made by BYU at the 45-yard line following a 36-yard punt. Bronco Mendenhall's team has the momentum, but they don't have the lead. It's Boise State by 3.
Vent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich, and the new 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander.
We begin this drive for BYU with the Cougars in excellent field position at their own 44-yard line. They have turned the field position game around, but the bottom line right there, Boise State ranked 20th, 24-21. You got to think from the perspective of these two programs, a defeat here pretty much kills any chance of crashing the playoff picture. When you're not a Power 5 team, or as Boise State calls them, the Resource 5.
Right.
And these programs have an edge about them. That's what I like about Boise State and BYU. They play with this, hey, you better notice us edge, because we'll beat you if you're not going to take us seriously. Straight ahead, Hine, and the run game opening up for BYU, as Ray mentioned. That's nearly a first down. It's going to be a solid 9-yard gain.
Toloahi, the fullback, number 45, just buried the linebacker on the ISO, and that's what opened it up for Hine. And that's been the difference when they do run the ball well. It's been all about the blocks that they're getting. Hine now 17 carries, 66 yards.
And they go to Jurgensen. They're going to go into the bag of tricks. Down the field looking for Matthews, and it's almost intercepted. In and out of the hands of Raymond Ford, number 25, the junior from LA. Make that 29, Dylan Summer Gardner, who had a chance at that. And it's going to be third down and about a yard to go.
He just short-armed it, really. He should have been able to make that catch. And that's a dangerous throw deep down the field, but worth a shot trying to get some quick, easy points.
Straight ahead, first down. And Hine, oh, that was a possibly touchdown saving tackle by Summer Gardner. Gain of 8.
I know I've been singing the praises of McNichols, but now it's Hine's turn, because he's done an unbelievable job too. And he just puts the helmet down and runs right over Joe Martirano.
Also a great block from the freshman All-American center from last year, Tijon Koroma, now the sophomore on the Remington watch list for best interior lineman on the offensive side. They go back to the run game. This time Nate Carter gets nowhere. Second down and 10. Under 7 minutes remaining in this game.
And this is Tanner Mangum time. Everyone we've talked to, and when we talk to him ourselves, he's kind of got that moxie and that coolness under pressure. That's been his reputation. You know, he talked about the first time he came into a game when he was a freshman in high school as a starting quarterback, and he came back and won the game similar to the fashion in what he did last week. He loves the big moments.
Play action fake. Stepping into the throw. Down he goes. And there's that Boise speed again. And this time Jonathan Moxie came roaring in for the sack. That's the 4th sack by Boise State today.
Yeah, this is just a corner blitz. Moxie sitting up here, really no one to cover with the tight end there. So he just comes and he's going to power rush and then show up late. And he kind of just was out-quicked, basically, the tight end, Balderieri. Kind of threw him away and gave him a little momentum.
Third down, 14. Little flipper down the field, going for the height in the end zone, and almost caught by Matthews. One-on-one battle with Moxie. Matthews with an 8-inch height advantage, and it's incomplete. 4th down and 14.
And Tanner Mangum certainly understands that if he throws it up, Mitch Matthews is going to go up and do his best to get it. And he almost one-hands it here, very close. And you got to give credit to Moxie. He was right there where he needed to be in perfect position.
Those two have had a battle.
Haven't they? That's been fun to watch.
This whole game has been fun to watch, and we kind of expected it was going to be like this.
That was my point about this becoming a rivalry, just because they both play so hard.
Linehan, this is a sweet punt if they can keep it in play. Tap back into play.
It broke the plane.
Yeah, that's a touchback. The officials in agreement on that. That's going to be a touchback. They're going to.
In the NFL, that would have been a great play, but it's all about the football. In college football, does it break the plane?
So Boise State catches a break there. They'll get the football at the 20-yard line instead of at about the 2, where this tap almost put BYU in great place defensively. Two successful head coaches, Brian Harsin on the left in his 2nd season running the Boise program. Bronco Mendenhall in year 11 has won 70% of his games, and Brian Harsin's Broncos have won 10 straight. They lead this one by 3. Just about 5 minutes remaining on the run. Finley, and he will literally go on the run and pick up a couple. Hit, bumped out of bounds, and that's going to knock over a couple of ad banners as well. Little hit that time by Tautu. Gain of 2.
Great coverage down the field. That really kind of took it away from him. Michael Davis was all over his receiver.
So Finley will start to drag some time out of the clock as well. McNichols is the tailback. Let's see if he starts getting some carries.
Yeah, I'd feed him right now.
And they do. Got one big man block, and McNichols, though, not being able to go north and south, finally was able to get an edge. And let's see if they mark him with the 25 or the 26. Fred Warner playing very well. He had a fumble recovery against Nebraska last week, and he was around there again. It's a 4-yard pickup. Here's a gigantic 3rd down and 4.
This is a big play, the biggest play of the ball game up till now, and I look for this BYU defense to bring pressure. That's when they've been successful. They bring a blitz. They might even go man-to-man here. This might be one of those critical times where Bronco dials that up.
And how does Boise State respond? They've been terrible on 3rd down, 2 for 10. Here is that blitz. Finley stepping up, and down he goes. He can't get anywhere with it. The blitz is successful.
And that's the 2nd sack of the night for Harvey Longy, who's an outstanding blitzer. And I think that goes back to his running back days. He knows how to find a hole. Here he is sitting right in the middle, and he's going to just time it up perfectly, make a move, fight through, make the sack.
So yet again, as both teams have 4 sacks tonight, Sean Whale comes out for his 8th punt of the night. Both teams with 8 punts. It's going to take a big roll, and smartly picked up there, because if Takanaka doesn't pick that up, that thing's going to roll another 10 yards. And he's going to be down in pretty good field position for BYU as the Broncos hang on to a 3-point lead against a team that knows how to win games in the last second. Van Pelt nightly for his fresh take on the day in sports. SVP on SC weeknights at midnight on ESPN. So ball marked the 36-yard line for BYU. There is our situation. 3:33 to go. Tanner Mangum's gone all the way. Quarterback for BYU, keeping him healthy is a #1 priority for the Cougars for the remainder of this season. And he's taken some shots. He's been sacked 4 times by a stout Boise defense. He'll throw. And closing in very quickly on the stop is Dante Dion, but it's a solid gain. Out to the 41, gain of 5 on the catch by Blackman.
Tanner Mangum, this is his time. And you got to wonder if he's got ice water running through his veins as he attempts to rise to the moment.
Again. Under some pressure, gets the pass off, but a very quick hit on Hine. He was slowed down that time by Tanner Vallejo. But for more on Tanner Mangum, let's get down to the field and Allison Williams.
Well, he told us in moments like this, the one thing he repeats over and over to himself is always in control. I've got this. I've done this before. This is what I've trained for. I know I can do it.
Well, he's 1 for 1 in that category as a college football player. This is his first start. 3rd and 3. Hine on the ground. He'll get a first down and plenty more. Hine and a touchdown saving tackle, that time by Darian Thompson, one of the team captains at the safety position.
Yeah, Thompson just ankle bit him to get him down because it looked like Hine was going to the his A. Little isolation play, and you see the block right here was key, taking Tanner Vallejo out of the picture. And that ankle grab right there might have saved the day for Boise.
93 yards, 19 carries now for the senior from Santa Clara, Utah. Play action fake to him. Mangum will throw it out and caught by Matthews at around the 30, maybe the 31-yard line before he's hit by his rival, Jonathan Moxey. That's an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2. We're under 2 minutes. Both teams have their 3 timeouts.
And Mangum's throwing BBs out there. He stuck that one right on his buddy Mitch Matthews, and those two are kind of hooking up together in critical moments, building something here.
And there's no real reason for BYU to super hurry here because they have the control of the clock with the ball.
And both teams with 3 timeouts remaining.
I don't know if that's a broken play or not, but it's a loss back to the 35-yard line. Coming up for the stop for Boise State was Chancellor James. And that's also got to hurt him on field goal range, too.
Yeah, watch Nate Carter right here. He stops to go back for the draw, but Tanner Mangum goes too deep on his path, and he wasn't anywhere near him to make the mesh in the handoff, so he just tried to follow it up into the hole.
No one is called timeout. 3rd down and 7. Little pressure again. He's going to flip it down toward the end zone, and it is intercepted out of bounds. Incomplete. 4th and 7 now. You got to go for it, right? I can't imagine, unless you want to try to bomb a 52-yard field goal. The weather conditions here are ideal for that. No real wind issues, but that's tough.
Yeah, you have to go for this. I don't think Trevor Sampson can hit, what would it be, a 53-yard field goal? I don't think you put it on him there.
41 last week was his long. And that is indeed the call from Bronco Mendenhall and his staff. 4th down and 7 right here. Pressure from behind. Mangum flips it into the end zone. We've seen this before. Touchdown, BYU!
Mitchell Juergens climbs the ladder, plucks it out of the air, and nothing less than a prayer from Tanner Mangum.
He did leave 45 seconds on the clock this time. So Boise State will get a crack.
They're going to have to score a touchdown, though, to win this thing.
Now they will.
That extra point.
Yep, now they will. Last week it was Mitch Matthews. This time it's Mitchell Juergens. They have anybody else named Mitch on the team?
I don't know, but I'll tell you if they do, Mangum will get it to him. How about him with the nerve to keep his eyes down the field, guys closing in. He's running out of the pocket. He sees his man. He just throws it up to give him a chance. And that's all Juergens needed. He goes up and gets it. An amazing play. History repeats itself a week later, apparently.
How many freshman quarterbacks have been able to either beat a quality opponent on the road and then put his team at home in position to win? Not a guarantee yet, because Boise is going to get a shot.
This guy's the Hail Mary kid.
Well, Juergens tonight, 4 catches for 172 and 2 touchdowns. The first one was, 84 yards on the first drive of the game, and they bookended with the last drive of the game. Oh, man. Mangum over 300 yards passing tonight.
This kid is something special.
Now, hang on a second, because this isn't over. Boise State will get the ball to the 25-yard line. Let's go ahead and while we have a second here, take a look at tonight's college football rankings brought to you by Capital One. And one loser in the top 10, but that was the top 10 matchup as Sparty hangs on to beat Oregon. That was a huge win for Mark D'Antonio's program. Notre Dame with a last-second win, by the way. USC taking care of business. Georgia, Vandy played them tough for a while.
Pretty much everybody held serve.
Got to think BYU will crack the top 25 in the AP poll if they hang on. They rush 3. Finley intercepted by Kai Nakua, his second pick of the night, and BYU is going to hang on. Nakua could house this thing. He does. Touchdown, BYU. A 50-yard interception return by Kai Nakua.
The hat trick for Nakua, his third pick of the night, and he turns the last one into a touchdown to cement this thing.
He did not play last week because of a suspension. 4 players were suspended by Bronco Mendenhall for the Nebraska game.
Just an incredible effort, and you're going to see Finley, no need to make this throw. Again, he just doesn't see a safety over the top, and that's tough to throw it over the middle like that. Great play by Nakua. His impact on this BYU defense cannot be overstated.
And the number 24, Boise's right there, right on it, and it's going to be Bronco Mendenhall's magic number, unless somehow Boise State returns this kickoff for a score which they have not come close so far tonight.
It's the magic formula for the cardiac Cougs.
They are about to go to 83-12 at 24 points or more, and 63-5 when they score 30 or more under Bronco Mendenhall. This will also be the second win for Bronco Mendenhall's Cougars against an AP team, AP-ranked team. The last time was 2010.
He looked like the Cougar that ate the canary there.
He can probably smile. It's okay now. .25 seconds to go.
And I got to tell you, they are on the verge of a special season. You know, just 2 weeks into it, it's hard to really say that, but in the fashion that they've handled these 2 games, they got something rolling here.
But you look at their schedule, and it's hard.
Well,
they're going to go in some very difficult places to play, and the philosophy here is hunt them down. If they won't come to us, we will go to them. They've already gone to Lincoln. They have to go to L.A. They got to go to Ann Arbor in a couple of weeks, and they got to go to Kansas City to play Missouri at Arrowhead. And Bronco Mendenhall's coaching this thing to the nub as he is going to take a timeout.
Yeah, there was some confusion in the secondary for BYU. Bronco saw it and then quickly used that timeout to, keep things going.
But the idea is, for Bronco Mendenhall, he would BYU has been independent. Now this is their 5th year, but they don't have favored status. You get into a conference one day, you get that favored status if you get into a Power 5 conference. And can they do it? This is one way. Hey, look at us. We'll play you anywhere, anytime, and if we have to travel to these places, we will. And that's philosophy that has worked in the past. I remember Bobby Bowden did it at Florida State when he was building that program in the 80s. He played everybody anywhere. Miami Hurricanes did it too, and it worked for those programs.
Bronco, his goal is to make BYU such an attractive team that any conference would love to have them. And I think they're on their way towards that. I mean, this is exciting, awesome, great football. And it's the 2nd week in a row that they've been able to pull this type of thing off.
Now there you go, big finishes. And then an interception return for a touchdown, just to cap it off, to blow it to 35-24. Finley's going to tow deep down the field, and almost a spectacular catch at midfield by Jake Rowe.
There's the man of the 2-week span, Tanner Mangum. Unbelievable.
Let's not forget, Ray, and I'm sorry to step on you a bit there, in the fourth quarter, the defense for the Cougars, they've given up 8 yards in this quarter, and they picked off 2 passes. Nakua, you mentioned 3 interceptions. That ties a school record. That'll do it. Most likely be the last play of the game, and an unbelievable emotional night for BYU. They continue to surf that wave of emotion to a 2-0 start and perhaps a ranking in the AP Top 25 next week.
They deserve it.
I don't know how you're going to keep them out. For Brian Harsin and Boise State, that's a tough loss. They had control of this game for a while. The great news is we're volunteering to call the rest of those games they play through 2023. And standing by on the field with Bronco Mendenhall is Allison Williams.
Bronco, first of all, 53 seconds left, 4th and 7 on their 35. What is going through your mind?
About the same thing that it was last week against Nebraska, other than more time. I'm impressed by my team. Really glad that I'm able to coach them and humble ends the season.
Tanner Magnum, when the pressure is on, how would you describe the way he handles it?
Man, it's a true freshman, his first start to beat the number 20 team in the country. Really nice start. I'm really proud of him.
Really nice start. Huge back-to-back wins. I think you might be downplaying it a little bit.
Thanks, I can't hear you.
Bronson, before you go, just describe the emotion these first 2 weeks.
Man, I've been through a whole season's worth of emotions already. Rather have it this way, though, than the other.
Thank you, Bronco. Enjoy.
Thank you, Allison, very much. And a spectacular night tonight for BYU. Boise State gave it a good shot, but they come up short tonight. BYU now 2-0. Boise State drops to 1-1. Party time in Provo. Our final score for the final time, BYU 35, Boise State 24. For our great crew,